Tonight, Delta State Governor Right Honorable Sheriff Oboriwori wins 2024 Governor of the Year Award. State government to partner federal government for preservation of state's mangrove ecosystem. Oil-producing communities tasked to live in harmony with operators of oil companies in their domains. And abroad, international communities call for peace talks to end violence in Democratic Republic of Congo. A very good evening to you. Thank you for joining us on the Delta Television main news at 8. Joy Ochei is my name. The state governor, Right Honorable Sheriff Oboriwori, has won this day newspaper and Arise Television Governor of the Year 2024 award for his fiscal discipline and infrastructural development of the state. Ejime Udweme reports.
Announcing the award, the founder of the This Day and Arise Media Group, Prince Ndoka Obaigbena, said Governor Oboriwori was nominated based on his excellent performance in his 18 months in office, stressing that amidst landmark projects, his administration had not borrowed any funds to run the state.
We start with a governor in Delta State who was underrated, but in his 18 months in power has not borrowed any cent from any bank. And he keeps building infrastructure.
Presenting the award on behalf of the Media House, former Commonwealth Secretary General Chief Emeka Anyoko congratulated Governor Oboriwori on the recognition, describing him as an achiever with positive accomplishments.
Governor of Delta State, I've heard so much about your activities. I have the greatest pleasure in presenting this award to you.
Governor Oboriwori, while receiving the award in Lagos, dedicated it to God and the people of the state for their unwavering support and partnership. The governor later in an interview said the award will spur him to do more for veterans as promised in his more agenda. He remarked that as the year 2025 unfolded, his administration will remain unwavering in the desire to redouble efforts towards building a more peaceful state and a resilient economy.
First, I give God the praise for this award. It will inspire me and all my people, the appointees and those in the government to do more for Deltans. Like I promised Deltans that we need to do more.
Other winners of the Governor of the Year award were Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu of Lagos State, Pastor Umar Eno of Akwa Ibom State, and Senator Obasani of Kaduna State. The award night featured performances by the legendary Diana Ross and Nigerian ace musician Flavor. The event commemorates the 30th anniversary of the This Day newspaper and the 12th anniversary of the Arise Television. Ejime Udweme reporting.
Oboriwori has felicitated with his River State counterpart, Mr. Siminalayi Fubara, on his 50th birth anniversary. In a statement by his chief press secretary, Sir Festus Ahon, Governor Oboriwori described Governor Fubara as a brave leader deserving recognition and celebration for his remarkable achievements in governing Rivers State. He extolled the governor as a professional accountant and a wise and capable leader divinely chosen to serve the people in the political history of Rivers State. Governor Oboriwori said Mr. Fubara had continued to ensure good governance predicated on the need to raise the people's standard of living by ensuring development, peace and security in the state. He prayed God to keep blessing his colleague with wisdom, good health and resources to pilot the affairs of River States. The state government has restated its commitment to partner with the federal government in ensuring sustainability and preservation of the state's mangrove ecosystem. The state deputy governor, Samando Unyeme, stated this when he received the presidential envoy and managing director of the National Council on Climate Change Secretariat, Dr. Nkiruka Maduekwe, who visited him in his office at Government House, Asaba. Pere Buto has details.
Sir Oyeme said the state government had already taken steps to preserve the mangrove ecosystem in order to derive maximum benefits, as it had signed an agreement with Serendip Nigeria Limited aimed at maintaining the ecosystem to encourage agricultural practices and to protect the environment. He said the partnership with the federal government would hasten its plan to achieve desired results in the preservation of the mangrove ecosystem in order to make it an economically viable environment. The deputy governor appealed to the federal government to give a no-objection letter to the state's climate project in order not to put the efforts of the state government in addressing issues of climate change into jeopardy. He noted that the collaboration with the federal government through the National Council on Climate Change Secretariat would make the environment safer by restoring and protecting the mangrove to enhance resilience and increase biodiversity in line with global best practices. Sir Oyeme said the efforts of the state and federal governments will reduce carbon emission and the adverse effects of climate change. The Presidential Envoy and Managing Director, National Council on Climate Change Secretariat, Dr. Nkiruka Maduekwe, said Nigeria had one of the largest mangroves in the world, and there was a need to preserve it as they can provide coastal resilience. The theme of this year's climate change action was amplifying nature-based climate solutions, adding that the mangrove could reduce vulnerability to ocean surge while highlighting the Climate Change Act. Dr. Maduekwe urged states to domesticate the Climate Change Act. I am Pere Botu reporting.
The state deputy governor, Samando Unyeme, has said the state economic team will study the proposal of an investor for rail system of transportation in the states and other areas of investment. Unyeme stated this when he received the managing director and chief executive officer of the Gisrael Engineering Services Limited during an audience in his office at Government House, Asaba. Pere Botu again reports.
Sir Oyeme said the construction of rail was capital intensive, hence the federal government was finding it difficult to successfully rehabilitate and construct proposed rail across the country. The deputy governor noted that rail was a good means of transportation of goods and services and recalled how the country had a good system of rail transportation cutting across different parts of the country. Sir Oyeme observed that the Suku option of funding of projects at long tenures, citing the Benin-Auchi dual carriage road being funded through the Suku financing that was still ongoing after many years. While describing the Suku option of funding of projects as slow and took longer time and advised other financing options. The Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer, Gisrael Engineering Limited, Mr. Duke Jerome Scott, said he had a general investment proposal for the state, particularly a rail project and construction of a resort center. He said his proposal for a rail system in the state would create jobs for the teeming youths, increase internally generated revenue, as well as provide social services to the people. Mr. Jerome Scott proposed different rail routes such as Osubi to Efru, to Agbaro, to Ugele, and terminating at Patani, while another line would be from Agbo to Umonede to Ogwashiku to Asaba, and the bridgehead as well as from Warri axis to Saple Ogara, terminating at Koko. He said his proposal would take advantage of the existing federal government rail line from Ujewu in Udu local government area to Itakpe in Kogi State and pay royalties to the federal government like in Lagos State, while adding that he had proposed funding through the Suku financing because of his long tenure rather than going to conventional banks due to high interest rate. Mr. Jerome Scott said the rail would also cover some local government.
The state government has called on oil communities to live in operators of oil companies in their areas. The special advisor told the governor on peace building and conflict resolution, Chief Edwin Uzo made a call at a meeting with representatives of Seplat Energy PLC and 5 neighboring communities in Sapele local government area. Henry Unogwa reports.
Chief Uzo said the meeting was to carry out a fact-finding at the flow station following a protest by Sapele Okpe, Ubukurusu, Ubekoko Okotie, Egbekoko, and Abiborodo communities, calling for the intervention of the state government over the nearness of the communities to the new flow station. He frowned at the absence of some of the parties involved in the matter and called for a reschedule of the meeting to a later date, appealing to all parties involved to be present on the day that will be communicated to them. Chief Uzo said though the company had given its report on the matter, but for clarity, the state government had also sent a surveyor to carry out a survey on the area.
We're building peace. We cannot say because they didn't come, then we'll just jettison the whole exile. We'll get to the root of the matter. Truth is what we're looking for. Therefore, we will write to Seplat. Government will write to Seplat, who is the original complainant of this case, for giving them date, for them to communicate all the communities they are operating on.
Some of the representatives expressed satisfaction with the meeting and promised to be present whenever they are called upon.
No, you have made a presentation. I don't think we start flogging, hitting the nail at the head when we have heard from your 6 months. I think some other time will be rescheduled, to my best of knowledge. We'll be scheduled, and everybody that knows it has stake in the system, for this visit should come.
Henry Onogwa reporting.
The State House of Assembly has struck out the legal dismissal of one Dr. O.A.D. from the services of Delta State University, Abraka. The move came as plenary sequel to reports submitted to the House by the Committee on Public Petitions. Favor Okafo reports.
Submitting his report on the allegations of malicious, oppressive, and illegal dismissal of Dr. Ide from the services of the Delta State University, Delsu Abraka, regarding the Delsu Akada Cooperative by the Vice Chancellor of the institution, the Chairman of the House Committee on Public Petitions and member representing Uwili North 1, Honorable Matthew Omonade, told the House that, after thorough investigation, the committee recommended that the dismissal of Dr. O.Ide as lecturer at the university was unlawful, that determination be set aside, and that he be reinstated to the position of senior lecturer in the Department of Accounting and Finance. The committee also recommended that all salaries, emoluments, and other benefits the lecturer was entitled to from the date of his unlawful dismissal to the present time be paid in full.
The director to ensure that the recommendation and directives of the House as contained in paragraph 1 to 4 above are complied with forthwith.
The majority leader, Honorable Emeka Nwobi, then moved the motion for the House to consider the report, which was unanimously upheld. The Speaker, the Right Honorable Emomotimi Guo, thereafter charged the clerk to convey the resolution of the House to relevant authorities. The Public Petitions Committee also submitted its report on the alleged trespass on landed properties in Achale Ibuzo, Oshimle North local government area belonging to the Office of the Auditor General Multipurpose Cooperative Society, purchased from the Idumoneta quarters, Umudiagbo, Achale Ibuzo, where it was recommended that the petition be struck out for lack of jurisdiction. The Speaker had earlier at plenary congratulated the State Governor for bagging the Governor of the Year award by the This Day newspaper and the Arise television, as well as an honorary doctorate degree by the Novena University Ogume, Ndokwa West local government area. Favor Okafo reports.
As part of deliberate efforts to ensure safety of consumers, the State Ministry of Environment Food Hygiene Compliance team has intensified its surveillance to ensure that restaurants, eateries and other food vendors operating in the state adhere strictly to precautionary health and safety protocols to guard against the spread of Lassa fever, cholera and other preventative and transmittable diseases. Gift Onosha has details.
Speaking during the enforcement exercise, Ambassador Gaga Ogene
Ogeneyole, who led the team to various eateries and restaurants in the state capital, reaffirmed the state government's zero tolerance to continued violation of laws and regulations guiding the establishments. Ambassador Ogeneyole pointed out that the state government understood the challenges confronting the sector during this period of cholera and Lassa fever outbreaks, charging them to operate under strict conditions for safety, cleanliness, and overall quality services to their customers. He said the State Commissioner for Environment, Honorable Ejiro Jamani, and his task force team remained committed to ensuring that sanitation and hygiene standards were not compromised in the state.
They are inside their kitchen. You have chef and kitchen assistants walking around food area with all their heads opened. They don't have fumigation certificate, no certificate of inspection, no HACCP plan in this place. And that is why we are using them as a deterrent to show them that Delta State is not a lawless place.
In an interview, the Director of Sanitation and Waste Management, Mrs. Francisca Atigan, highlighted the need for all to practice and maintain personal hygiene, which includes washing of hands with soap and running water, ensuring the environment is kept clean at all times, among other roles. Mrs. Atigan advised the food vendors to preserve and protect the environment from both natural and man-made disaster.
Flies are some of the transporting agents. When they perch on the feces that is contained, they transport it. And then what we also want to preach to people now is that everybody should go back to this hand washing habits.
Some eateries were sealed while the Fortas were fined and given 48 hours ultimatum to provide the necessary documents for their business operations. Gift Unosha reporting.
The Minister of Solid Minerals Development, Mr. Dele Alake, has disclosed that the deadly explosion in Sabompegi, located in the Mashego local government area of Niger State, which resulted in tragic deaths of 3 individuals and destruction of 40 houses, was caused by the illegal stockpiling of explosives by a resident, Joshua Maikampala. According to a statement issued by the minister's special assistant on
upgrading your TV doesn't mean buying a new one. Unbelievable, right? But with the new Airtel Smart Router, you can now watch YouTube on any TV and also get unlimited data for 30 days to stream thrilling Nollywood movies, catch up on football highlights, and keep your kids engaged with edutainment all on YouTube. With the Airtel Smart Router, everyone gets what they love. Get the Smart Router plus unlimited data for 25,000 Naira. Visit the nearest Airtel shop to get yours. Airtel, a reason to imagine.
Thank you for staying on with us. The Minister of Solid Minerals Development, Mr. Dele Alake, has disclosed that the deadly explosion in Sabompegi, located in the Mashego local government area of Niger State, which resulted in the tragic deaths of 3 individuals and destruction of 40 houses, was caused by the illegal stockpiling of explosives by a resident, Joshua Maikampala. According to a statement issued by the minister's special assistant on media, Shegun Tumori, Maikampala said unauthorized accumulation of these dangerous materials was the direct trigger for the incident. The statement pointed out that the resident is believed to have been involved in purchasing and storing explosives and their accessories in a house in the area following a preliminary investigation. It also indicated that the minister has dispatched officials of the Federal Mines Office in the state to the blast site for an on-the-spot assessment. The minister, reacting to the incident, expressed his condolences to the victims and their affected families. The Association of Women Living with HIV and AIDS in Nigeria, ASHWAN, has brought together stakeholders to survey barriers to the prevention of mother-to-child transmission of the disease. The one-day stakeholders meeting held by ASHWAN Delta in collaboration with Global Network of People Living with HIV, GMP+. The ASHWAN National Officer, Mrs. Helen Akpan, said the workshop would give understanding of the barriers to the prevention of vertical transmission of HIV, especially among the hard-to-reach women living with HIV in Nigeria. The National Secretary, Nkem Chukwuemeke, in a welcome address, called on stakeholders to key into the objectives of the workshop by linking their areas of operation to the prevention of mother-to-child transmission. The Executive Secretary of the Delta State Action Committee for HIV and AIDS, DELSACA, Dr. Rudolph Hobson, acknowledged the importance of the meeting, stressing that if factors hindering the prevention of mother-to-child transmission were brought to a minimum, the spread of HIV and AIDS would be greatly reduced. Stakeholders with HIV and AIDS in their remarks said the meeting would create an innovative approach aimed at promoting awareness through capacity building and agenda setting for advocacy. The meeting drew representatives of the Network of People Living with HIV and AIDS in Nigeria, NIP1, the State Action Committee on AIDS, SACA, and Sexual Offences Unit of the Ministry, among other stakeholders. Still to come on the Delta Television main news at 8, international communities call for peace talks to end violence in Democratic Republic of Congo. Details of this and more shortly. Stay with us. Thank you for staying on with us. You are watching the Delta Television main news at 8. The Global News next as we join our World News Desk.
U.S. President Donald Trump has called the rise of Chinese company DeepSeek a wake-up call for the U.S. tech industry after the emergence of its artificial intelligence AI model triggered shockwaves on Wall Street. Shares in major tech firms such as Nvidia fell sharply, with the chip giant losing almost $600 billion in market value. What has shaken the industry has been shaken by DeepSeek's claim that its ROI model was made at a fraction of the cost of its rivals, raising questions about the future of America's AI dominance and the scale of investments U.S. firms are planning. DeepSeek has become the most downloaded free app in the U.S. just a week after it was launched. Responding to the news, President Trump said the latest developments in China's AI industry may be a positive for the U.S., adding that he was not concerned about the breakthrough, as U.S. will remain a dominant player in the field.
Coming up with a faster method of AI and much less expensive method, and that's good, because you don't have to spend this much money. I view that as a positive, as an asset. The release of DeepSeek AI from a Chinese company should be a wake-up call for our industries that we need to be laser-focused on competing to win.
An initiative to vaccinate all livestock in Kenya is due to kick off this week amid fierce resistance from farmers, driven by certain claims about the vaccines. The Kenyan government said it will cost farmers nothing to get their animals vaccinated, as it was footing the bill. The government's aim is to vaccinate at least 22 million cattle and 50 million goats and sheep over 3 years. Reports say currently only 10% of the national herd get the necessary vaccinations, and the authorities say they want to raise that rate to 85% to make Kenya's livestock products eligible for export. The president, who is a farm owner and had several big herds himself, said the vaccines were vital for expanding the sector by controlling foot and mouth disease and cattle and sheep and goat plague. There are growing international calls for peace talks to end the escalation of violence in the east of the Democratic Republic of Congo. The fate of the economic and trading hub Goma is still unclear, as UN officials said the situation is chaotic, with fighting continuing in parts of the city. A Congolese government official said the army was still in control of most of the regional capital, a claim debuted by M23 rebels who attacked the city. Reports say at least 17 people have been killed and close to 400 wounded.
Delta Broadcasting Service DBS Asaba is committed to its mandate of driving the programs and policies of the state government's MORE agenda through sustained information dissemination to the people of the state and beyond. General Manager of the DBS Asaba, Mrs. Christine Jobome Emetulu, made the affirmation when she played host to a delegation from Delta State Traffic Management Authority, DESMA, to the station. Mora Isokman reports.
Mrs. Jobome Emetulu said the station had begun the year with a determination to push the MORE agenda of the state government through efficient and effective dissemination of information. She cited Governor Sharif Oborewori's current personal oversight of projects across the state, which showed that he was determined to implement the MORE agenda to the letter, adding that the DBS Asaba would play its role in that regard.
The organ of government, we are here to drive the programs and policies of the Delta State government via information dissemination. So we inform, we educate, we enlighten.
The DBS Asaba General Manager assured the DESMA authorities of the station's readiness to collaborate with the traffic management body to help it effectively play its own role in the implementation of the MORE agenda. Earlier, the Director General of the DESMA, Honorable Benjamin Okemute, and the Chairman of the authority, Chief Peter Idion, solicited the support of the DBS Asaba as the state broadcaster in enlightening and educating Deltans on traffic rules and regulations, and the importance of doing the right thing at all times, especially as life was involved. They posited that when all Deltans had been sufficiently acquainted with the DESMA's activities, there would be no leniency for any violator of traffic rules, in line with the state government's zero tolerance to indiscipline or negligent behaviors.
We want our daily activities on DESMA operation to be heard by everybody, every part of the state, wherever you are. You need your head. Continue appealing for your head. Because you are aware that most times you go out to see them, traffic offenders fighting our officers for no just cause, just because awareness is not there.
The DBS Asaba General Manager was, during the visit, recognized as an honorary DESMA Marshal. Mora Isokman reporting.
Similarly, delegation from the Federal Road Safety Corps, FRSC, RS 5.2, Delta State Command, visited the management of Delta Broadcasting Service, DBS Asaba, to show its part.
The state FROSC sector commander, Mr. Frederick Ogida, recognized the influence of the DBS Asaba in the public domain and its capacity as a veritable platform for public and enlightenment campaigns. He noted that a partnership between the station and the Road Safety Corps would greatly enhance the dissemination of vital information to the public, particularly regarding road. The DBS Asaba General Manager pledged the support to the FROSC in creating awareness on safety rules as every life mattered. She called on the road safety officials to exercise caution when endeavoring to prevent erring drivers from escaping being apprehended, to safeguard the lives of other road users and the public at large.
And as far as His Excellency in Delta State Government is concerned, every life is valuable. So he has the moral agenda crafted for the benefit of Deltans. So the Deltans is interested in, they have to be strong, they have to be alive to enjoy the moral agenda.
The visits were witnessed by heads of the various departments and units in the station, among other senior officers. Mora Isopa reporting.
The traditional ruler of Oboluku Kingdom in Aniocha South Local Government Area, Obi Chukwuka Noah Akeze, has affirmed that Chief James Asika Onwodi is the only recognized and authentic Onishe of Oboluku Kingdom. The declaration is coming against the backdrop of an indigene of the community parading himself as the Onishe of Oboluku Kingdom. The statement enjoins the Oboluku community and the public to disregard any claims made by any other individual to the title and to recognize Chief James Onwodi as the rightful Onishe of Oboluku Kingdom, adding that any other person laying claim to the title was an impostor. The monarch said the move was a significant step towards maintaining peace and order in the kingdom, as well as upholding the integrity of traditional institutions.
Nigerian Communications Commission and telecommunications companies have ruled out any extension to the deadline for banks to settle their unstructured supplementary service data debt. The chairman of the Association of Licensed Telecommunications Operators of Nigeria, Mr. Benga Adebayo, confirmed that the number of defaulting banks had decreased to 7. Mr. Adebayo explained that the current enforcement was part of the first phase of a structured payment plan outlined in a December 20 memo from the NCC. He emphasized that the first phase is critical, as failure to the deadline could trigger disconnection of USSD services, vital for millions of Nigerians who rely on mobile banking for everyday transfolding. Development follows a directive issued by the telecom regulator warning the 9 banks to clear their debt by January 26, losing access to their USSD codes and essentially millions of Nigerians to conduct banking transactions without internet. The value of electronic payment transactions rose by 59.3% year-on-year to 284.4 trillion naira 2024 from 178.5 trillion naira in the corresponding period of 2023. Analysis of data from Nigerian Interbank Settlement System NISS e-payment data for 2024 showed that the instant payment NIP had the high.
And here is our thought for today. When you overthink everything, you end up hurting yourself. And now to end the Delta Television main news at 8, here are the highlights. The State Governor, Right Honorable Sheriff Oboriwori, has won This Day Newspaper and Rise Television Governor of the Year 2024 award for his fiscal discipline and infrastructural development of the state. The state government has restated its commitment to partner with the federal government in ensuring sustainability and preservation of the state's mangrove ecosystem. The state deputy governor, Samande Onyeme, stated this when he received the presidential envoy and managing director of the National Council on Climate Change Secretariat, Dr. Nkiruka Maduekwe, who visited him in his office at Government House, Asaba. The state government has called on oil-producing communities to live in harmony with operators of oil companies in their areas. The special advisor told the governor on peace building